This video contains gratuitous use of profanity and uncomfortable pauses to compensate for lack of professionalism and original thought. Viewer discretion advised.
Coming to you live from the USSS flag, we bring you the Nerdy Manroom show with your hosts, Hassel and Monster. And this week we have special guest tag along, Mr. Big Rob of Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food. Thank you very much for being here, Big Rob.
Man, I was just gonna say you was a guest. I wasn't gonna say you was a tag along. That was harsh.
He's like this is Freebird rules. He's the third member. So I mean.
Okay. I'll take that. I appreciate you guys having me.
Well, this is our patriotic edition. As you can see, you don't get much more patriotic than a Dale Murphy Braves jersey from the 80s. So we are in our patriotism episode. And Monster, it's been a while, buddy.
It has. I've been on the road a good bit. And before we get into Geek Week and stuff, I will share with you that I was actually in Pennsylvania last week at one of my sites working in gentleman there had on a Atlanta Braves cap, and somebody asked him right away because the other person who was traveling with me was like, "Is that a Atlanta baseball hat?" Because it had the small A and it was like classic style Atlanta Braves. I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You knew I was coming to visit, didn't you? Because you know where I'm from originally." He's like, "Well, I know you from down there, but I didn't even think about that." But yeah, so this is my ball team. I was like, "You have lived in Pennsylvania." I think he said his whole life. I'm like, how did you end up being a Braves fan? But
they're America's team, or they were America's team. When the Superstation came along and Ted took them over, they were pushed in every state. That was America's team, baby. Dale Murphy ate his Canette ice cream, and he kicked ass and knocked home runs.
He said he's been watching them since the 80s. So
there you go. Dale Murphy's there. They were pretty hot there in the mid-'80s. They kind of shit the bed getting around the late 80s.
I was thinking more along the late 80s, early 90s when they had the pitching staff.
Well, no, that's when they came to actual really kick assness. We had a surge in the mid 80s with Dale Murphy where they were actually like contenders. And it got really bad again in the late 80s. And then around 89 to 90, that's when they started acquiring just talent after talent. And that's what, from there on, they were building a legacy.
Well, that's fair. But I think we're probably boring our guest to death because he is not a baseball fan. But with that, let's go straight into Geek Week. And since Big Rob, you haven't been here for a while, how about you share your geek month and a half, however long it's been since the last time you were here?
Share your geek life.
Hey, let me tell you, I know two things about baseball. Nolan Ryan's the greatest pitcher that ever lived. And Bobby Bonilla Day was like yesterday.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
And he gets that $1.2 million every year for till 2035. The Mets are great businessmen.
That's it. That's all I know. So yeah, wow. I think the last time I was on the show was when we did the After Dark special, so it's been a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done quite a few things. I guess probably the biggest thing is after not having been to any cons in a while, I've actually managed to make it to 2 different conventions in less than a month. I hit the St. Augustine Ancient City Wrestling Con at the beginning of the month, and then I hit Joe Fest just a couple of weeks ago. I had a ton of fun there, picked up a bunch of stuff that I'd add to my collection that I have nowhere to put, but
well, that's really what me and Monster was talking about when we done our convention episode. You could go into a convention, we was like, damn, we wish we could have had Big Rob aboard, but he's actually going to River City, and then you hit Joe Fest. Was the next week or week or 2 weeks after? But yeah, those looked amazing, dude.
It's a lot of fun. I know, for a while, all of us were going to cons, not all the time, but fairly regularly. And then we kind of got COVID and this, that, and the other. Life, being an adult, kind of got in the way, but it's it was a great deal of fun just to be able to take a few hours. I know Well, see, I'm, women don't care about me, so I'm free.
Same here.
Look, you liar. So, but I've done that, and like I say, I've added some pieces to the collection. Most of that stuff's on my videos from when I hit the collection.
Yeah, you've been slaying it with some toy hunt videos and your unboxings and whatnot.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect time to plug in and say where people can go actually see that at.
Yeah, I mean that's all of my con stuff, my unboxings, my toy hunts, everything's on my YouTube channel, Big Rob's House of Entertainment, No Chinese Food. I also do TikTok, same name, just completely different channel. That's all me, just being a smart aleck and trying to do some comedy and stuff. Same name though, and I'm on Twitter or X, whatever it is, same name again, and that's just mostly me annoying larger accounts by making smart ass comments. So
nothing wrong being that guy. I've made a career out of it.
Exactly.
But continue sharing about the concert. I know we interrupted you there. I just wanted to make sure we plugged that while we had the opportunity.
No, I appreciate it. I had an amazing time. Sorry, sinuses are getting to me right now. I apologize.
South Georgia.
Yeah, it is. No, I mean hit a lifelong goal, or well, not lifelong goal, but just about many year ago at the wrestling con when I met Trish Stratus and Lita, both just really awesome, amazing people. Super nice to everybody they talked to. Met up with Ron Simmons, WCW, WWE first black national champion. Dude was super nice and just an incredibly massive human being. He scared the hell out of me, and I'm a big dude. But super nice dude. I had a freaking blast. Went to Joe Fest, and I was stuck in Augusta. Well, not stuck in Augusta, but I was in Augusta for work anyway. So that was a fortuitous turn of events, and I got to go. I got to meet some people. I met the guy behind the American Ninja X upcoming figure and comic. I cannot remember his name, so I apologize.
I really wish I'd have known about that Warlord Sergeant Slaughter figure. I'd have paid the money for you to go to that.
I didn't know about it until I was already at the con and it was sold out. I missed that. It did look great. But yeah, it was a last minute thing that I didn't think I was going to get to go. I'm going to know next time, because I'm going again, and I'm going to pay more attention ahead of time to what all they got, what all's available. Because yeah, that they did that customization class for that Warlord, and yeah, he looks really cool. I wish I'd have been attention. I don't know, man.
See, my only problem is I'm not a good painter. I just rather buy him from someone. Just do it and let me buy it from you. But you could apparently buy the kit itself, but I mean it's unpainted and whatnot. So I'm just like,
And I'm sure on eBay there's somebody that's got some for sale. Ain't no telling how much they gonna want for them, but I'm sure there's some somewhere for sale.
I'm sure there's probably $100 for an Ollie's figure that they converted.
Probably.
You know what's interesting about that Joe Fest though is the fact that it's the G.I. Joe one, but because there's only like one or two of those a year, you get much more engagement from the third party people who are creating stuff. Like I think the guy's name for that American Ninja X is Matthew Humphreys or something like that from Riot Press. Ace from Ramen Toy was there showing his Bridgewater stuff.
They had all their stuff there.
Yeah. What was that, Rob? Sorry, you were saying something.
Oh no, I was going. Riot Press is correct. I wasn't sure about the guy's name, but it definitely is Riot Press. So that's probably.
Yeah, I think it's Matthew something. I want to say it's Humphreys, but I might be wrong on the last name. But it's Matt something. But they all show up there, and then a week after that, it was one of the BotCons, and because BotCon has so many shows in a year, you get some third party stuff at BotCon or TFCon LA. And then you get a little bit throughout the year, but like I tried to look at BotCon to see what new third-party masterpieces were coming out, and I only saw one, which was Drift. Everything else has already been shown, already been announced, but there was so much stuff shown at Joe Fest that was like, okay, we're doing this, and The one that I missed originally was the fact that they had that Fresh Monkey Fiction there, and they were doing that Cops line. They got the license to do a Cops and Crooks line of figures, and they're actually able to call them that.
3 or 4 inch figure monster?
I don't know. I got to look because I thought that was actually taller. I thought it was going to be closer to the 6-inch scale, but
really,
I mean, I might be wrong, and it may not be.
Well, I mean, we can be talking about two different things. I had seen some. I don't want to say parody figures, but kind of the small scale where they're real cartoony and oversized different parts, like heads or whatnot, hands and shit like that. I'd seen some Cops figures like that. That was maybe that was Hiya Toys or something that was putting that out.
So yes, there's some minifigures they're doing because I'm looking at it while we're talking, but no, this is actually a full blown, full scale action figure because those little mini ones don't do anything. They're 1.5 inches tall.
They literally just stand there and they do a pose and they look cartoony.
So yeah, it's a 1/12 edition line. So yeah, they're gonna be 6-inch scale.
Oh man.
The only one right now shown is that bulletproof, but they said that they're not sure how deep in the line they're going to go. It depends on how it sells. So they're going to do bulletproof first, and then if sales are well, they'll continue on the line.
I don't know how they have to have those. It's going to be crime fighting time, guys.
I'm surprised they're getting a license for that, considering it's kind of like Mask. It's part of what Hasbro bought from Kenner. So Hasbro owns the license to
Mask and Silverhawks and all that's kind of tied together.
Yeah, and
purgatory.
Hasbro owns all of them, but like I know they're licensing out more G.I. Joe stuff because it's selling, and they license out their Power Rangers because they don't know how to manage it. But surprised they're doing that Cops one because you could easily wrap those into your G.I. Joe classified line as a subset. You could do the same with Mask too, honestly. But Mask,
we got the Matt Tracker figure for the 25th anniversary years ago. I mean, that's been something that's hard to believe. It's been 15 years now, but yeah. And we got the Matt Tracker figure then, and they was rumored to be who's the head of Viper?
You mean Venom? Miles Mayhem.
Yeah. They were going to do one of him, and then I guess the line petered out before they got to him. But it was rumored to be coming along as well.
Pop quiz: who can say what Mask and Venom both stand for?
They're
acronyms.
I cannot.
Big Rob?
Strike Command?
Yep, Mobile Armor Strike Command. And then what's the other one?
Don't remember the other one.
The Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem. Venom.
When you refer to yourself as evil, you have no redeeming quality. It ain't like you're Dr. Doom and you're the hero of your story. You acknowledge I'm an evil motherfucker.
Exactly. I love the themes they had for those. They were so funny to me. But for whatever reason, I can still remember those. But a lot of other acronyms I will forget.
I did see a TikTok the other day where a guy was in a thrift shop and he come along several of those still boxed up.
Good
or
Lord.
I guess somebody's mom didn't realize and they just sold their shit.
There's so many of those that I won't. But I won't get into that because we'll be here for a long time. We interrupted Big Rob's Geek Week yet again, so I will hush and let him finish.
No, it's honestly, I mean, that's other than like you said, all the different third parties and stuff, because I know I probably missed 2/3 of what was there just because there was so much to see and so many people and everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got to talk to the guy from American Ninja X and Brahman Toys because they're working together on that. I know your buddy Ace was there, and I seen a lot of cool stuff at the Super 7 booth. They had prototypes of the O-Ring Joes there. I'm not a huge Super 7 fan. I know you guys got a lot of stuff. I have one Super 7 figure. I'm happy with him, and that's about it for me.
Well, Super 7 is yet to replace my Quicksilver with the metal. They said he was on the way, and I hadn't seen it yet. It's been 3 weeks now. So,
I would jump in on Super 7. I'm not a. I get their Thundercats and Silverhawks just for the main team, and then I'm done with them. But have you seen where the new Ninja Turtles line, because they're going to the 2003 Ninja Turtles series now, they have updated the articulation though. They have full double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, everything that you didn't have on any of the others.
That will be the only good thing about those, because the other ones, while they look great and look very much like the figures we had, as kids and whatnot, just better scaled. The elbow pads and knee pads, they get in the way of the joint, and it sucks.
Yeah, so they have up their articulation game. But Big Rob, you were saying something when I interrupted. I apologize, sir.
No, you're fine. Have you seen? I guess it's Playmates that are re-releasing the original 4 again with like a rooftop diorama.
I hadn't seen the rooftop diorama. I've seen where they're like just flooding the market with the original waves.
No, this is like almost like an anniversary edition or something. They're kind of redoing the 4 originals. And they all come with like a piece of rooftop, and you can put them together and make a display or whatever. I like them, except the only problem I have, you go look at them, look for them. I'll have to hunt down again. But they all look like they got, I don't know, acne or something, because they got like bumps all over their skin, all 4 of them. And I don't know why.
They didn't take the movie figures and redo them, did they?
No, the
movie figures were textured a little bit.
Textured. Okay, but that's the difference. The movie figures were textured. It was all over even pattern of bumps, which was weird. But these are just like, it kind of looks like my acne. There's one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, but it's all over.
I wonder if that's not meant to represent that last movie that came out which was a fine movie, but I wasn't big on the animation style.
I don't know. Like I said, they were supposed to be an anniversary or something like that for the very first ones that Playmates came out with. But nobody's saying anything about the weird skin texture. Everybody's complaining about the fact they've got swivel ankles, which I get it, because it's not a ball joint. It's not anything. It's literally just a swivel for their ankles. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But their skin just freaks me out. I don't get it.
So let me ask you guys this: if they were to do still doing it that way, wouldn't it? Don't you think, market wise, it would be better to have the 4 together in a box with a diorama already placed together? Because the people that are going to buy this, they're not grandmas buying them for their little grandbaby. They're just going to have to chase down all 4 of them. They're collectors that are our age that are wanting the set.
Dika keeps doing that, and they charge $150 to $200 every time they do it. So I mean, I'm not saying no, but it's been done.
What anniversary is it this time? It's got to be 40 years?
Probably 40.
Is it quite 40? Because I thought they premiered in 87.
Well, I think that's the cartoon. I don't think that's the actual line. He's probably talking about the actual comic. I think the comic was 84, 85.
Because the ones that I'm talking about actually look more like the cartoon. It's not like the original, the black and white Eastman and Laird.
Okay, well, I mean, I think the cartoon Monster is correct. I think the cartoon is 87.
Yeah, so it
ain't quite a 40 yet.
Yeah, it's like, we're still a few years off from there. So
yeah, but you're past 30.
Yeah, it'd be past 35 too. It's in that middle ground of nothingness.
I don't know. I'll have to look it up and send it over to you. Whenever we get off the here, I can't remember. I wish I did. My memory's terrible.
What I want to know is, how did you go to River City Wrestling Con and Joe Fest and you missed Slaughter at both of them?
Okay. Well, I'll be perfectly honest. When I was at River City Con, I didn't see him. Like, I know he was there because I've seen everybody else's pictures, but you can ask, my buddy Shane went with me. Neither one of us seen him, and we were there Saturday and Sunday. I don't know where the dude was at. We walked that con both days, and I don't know if we just hit while he was like, at lunch or what happened, but I missed him, and I don't know how. And then at Joe Fest, I seen him, but I didn't have the money to go meet him. That's what stopped me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened at the convention, at the wrestling convention. I just couldn't find him.
He is actually a very nice guy. When we met him when we went to River City, he was a cool dude. He posed up with me, and he put the wife in the cover clutch. He's a really pretty cool guy.
Seems really awesome. Everybody says he is. So.
I was a little upset when I met him that I didn't know he had these like slaughter coins. Apparently, he's got like slaughter marauders coins, and you can get them from him. I didn't know nothing about them, but you can only get them from him at cons, is what I'm to understand.
Yeah, I've seen them online. I don't know what you actually have to know the password to get them, or.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like he had them like laid across his fucking table. I mean, there's a shit ton of pictures on his table, and some various figures and whatnot that he's selling and merch. But but I've already seen a unreleased Slaughter without the cover Marauder signed by him. So.
But that's pretty much it for my Geek Weeks. I'll turn it back over to you guys, the professionals.
Monster, kick us off, baby.
Oh, dude, I honestly have very little because I've been traveling so much for work, and I had a back-to-back trip to get up to Pennsylvania for a few days, leave from Pennsylvania after 1 or 2 days, get down to Missouri, and I'm still in Missouri right now. So it's been very busy. I think the only thing I can say I did is over the weekend I did catch up on some shows, and I'm trying not to sneeze right now because all of a sudden it hit me. Oh man, bad timing.
Vince McMahon would strangle you right now.
Well.
Maybe shit on you later.
He can go strangle on some poop somewhere. I did sit around the hotel over the weekend and try to catch up on some things. And I'll be honest, I binged the new season of that 90s show because I love that 70s show. And that 90s show is not quite as good, but it is good enough to sit there and just binge it and get a good laugh out of it. I enjoyed it.
Is that the second season?
Yeah, I thought it was actually better than the first season, honestly. The first one had so much setup to do, and the second one, it was just more...
It would have to be.
You got more exposition about what's going on with everybody during the second one, I felt like. So I did that. And then I finished catching up on the Acolyte, which was I was only one episode behind, so I watched that. And other than that, I've just been rewatching some old stuff. I did finish reading... Actually, I was kind of mad I only packed one. You're packing a suitcase to go fly and you got to make multiple stops. I'm like, I want to keep it somewhat light. So I only took one graphic novel with me. But by the time I was halfway through the week, I was out of that one, which I had brought the Return of Superman from the Death and Return of Superman. I'm on the one where he actually comes back. So I was like, crap. So I finished reading that like halfway through last week and I had nothing to read since. Other than that, though, I haven't really had much of else going on just because between work and travel for work, that's kind of kept me busy.
Well, let me ask you guys this, because I mean, you two are. Well, I'm a Star Wars fan. You guys are the knowledge behind it, a lot more than I. I haven't watched Sasqanaut yet, but what do you feel about the Sith helmet? Like there's starting to be more pictures flood online because they're doing the Black Series version of the helmet. Does it not come off very anime-ish to you guys?
Chainsaw Man.
It does look like that.
I mean, Tom Casey sent that to us the other day. I was like, that's just fucking anime, dude. And I'm not knocking it. Maybe it looks amazing on the screen. I haven't got to watch the show yet.
I don't care much for the way it looks at all, on screen or off screen. I think they could have done something different with that. I do like the fact that it's made out of a metal that actually disrupts the lightsabers.
Okay.
And it's actually shown in previous books, not just necessarily in the right continuity stuff, but like handbooks and stuff. They talked about this type of metal. It's not Beskar, which can deflect it, but it's another one that actually absorbs energy blasts and things. So like when you see they're getting their lightsaber cut, everybody's like, well, how's he cutting off their lightsabers and stuff? It's not him, it's the metal. And he purposely like headbutts some of the lightsabers just to get them to deactivate so he can then attack.
Huh.
I was like, okay,
I've heard great things. Like I've heard this last episode was amazing. And because like literally everybody is like, oh, you people that shit all over Disney, Star Wars, watch this last episode. And like they've just went on and on about it.
It's not, I'm not going to say it's great or it's perfect. I mean, it's good and it's entertaining to watch. The biggest standout point to me, and they may explain it, and this is a spoiler. So, Big Rob, are you up to date on it, or have you watched any of it? Or
I haven't watched any of it, but go ahead.
So for anyone who's watching this who doesn't want to hear spoilers, you can jump ahead about, let's say, 3 minutes, because that's about all this is going to take. But most of the fans who are that mad at it the whole thing with the witches and stuff, that didn't really phase me, and I think that was somebody using that to start a complaint that, hey, this is destroying my Star Wars. It really doesn't, because it doesn't have any effect to anything later, and it's not them impregnating somebody. So I'm past that. But the one complaint I can see agreeing with is that they're saying, hey, you said in episode 1 or so that the Sith hadn't been seen for millennia. This is only 100 years before. So why are we just now seeing the Sith? And it's only 100 years before. Now, there is a part in the show where they say, we need to talk to the council, the Grand Council, about this and all. And they're like, and one of the Jedi's like, no. If we tell them, they have to tell the Senate. And then it becomes that we can't protect our own are being killed. How can we be seen as the peacekeepers of the galaxy? So very politically, they kind of cover it up right there. So the question is, do they keep that covered up? And that's why certain people think it's only been a millennia. And I know a lot of people looked at it and said, well, you got Ki-Adi-Mundi there, because there's a guy who has that same look as him. It's got the same head and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, he's just from the same race of aliens. Nobody ever said his name was Ki-Adi-Mundi.
So Yoda would have to be on the council at this point. I mean,
yeah. What was that, Big Rob?
I said, I again haven't seen it, but I thought that in the credits they actually credited him as Ki-Adi-Mundi.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up and see, but I know he's one of the ones who was in the council chambers when they said they hadn't heard of a Sith in millennia and they thought they were extinct. But
you think he'd be less apprehensive when Qui-Gon brings it up and like, oh shit, 100 years ago we kind of heard this then.
Yeah, unless they come back and say no, it wasn't, because he's never goes out into the field. He's just shown at the temple when they're telling it. And this one Jedi female is like, we can't say this to the council because they have to tell the Senate, and then it comes out like this. So let's cover it up. And because he's the one who asked, he's like, shouldn't we inform the council? So maybe they come back and tell them, hey, no, it wasn't anything like that. I mean, the series is not over, so we don't know how that goes yet. But that's one of those.
Yeah,
that's one that I can or cannot get behind, depending on how they play it out.
Well, Dave Filoni, helming all this right here, he typically is like on point. I am extremely surprised that, he would let these small details past him. Which, I mean, Sam Whitaker said he did have to correct him on some shit with Darth Maul, but which was like respect to the actor, because typically the actors don't know shit, but this guy loved his craft enough to actually be able to fact check Dave Filoni. But wow, I'm surprised with that.
Yeah, I don't know, and they haven't really said what the deal with everything is. So there's potential that it could be something completely different, but that's the only thing that I have watched so far that's kind of made me like, eh. Other than that, it's been a fairly decent story, and it's fun to watch. I mean, I have no complaints with it. So, but that's pretty much all of my Geek Week in a nutshell.
Well, on my end, I've been watching Game of Thrones. I've got to watch this week's episode tonight with the wife because she works Sunday night, so we typically watch them a couple days later together. But I got to watch this final one tonight. I'm digging Game of Thrones so far.
House of the Dragon?
Yeah. House of the Dragon. Thank you for correcting me. Because Thrawn's is over with. No, I mean, House of the Dragon's been pretty damn boss. I enjoy it. I like it. It's not as good as Game of Thrones. I'll be the first to tell you that. I mean, it is nowhere near as good as Game of Thrones. It is still enjoyable. It's its own story. Some things kind of make you go, and then but you get some cool things too that you see and say, oh shit, that leads to what I've seen here and there, hundreds of years later. So that's pretty cool there, and I'm sure we're gonna run into the same thing with like the Acolyte, where hey, some things ain't lining up here,
Yeah.
But that's just the nature of doing prequels and sequels and shits like that. I did watch Who Killed WCW, so I won't go into that because you guys haven't got to watch it yet. I will say the first 3 episodes, I haven't watched the final episode. I will watch it probably tomorrow before AEW. It's pretty damn enjoyable, and like, if you already didn't blame the corporate side of things, you're a moron. But Brad Siegel just comes off as the biggest swarmy douchebag of all time. Him and Russo, like I have a whole new level of dislike for Russo. He was somebody I didn't care for anyways, but if I hear bro one more time, that in itself could be a drink game. You think we got a drink game when I say fuck? Drink when he says bro, you'll be drunker than me, I promise.
Bro, I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, he is awful. It did do me good to know that Goldberg intentionally tried to hurt him. Because Goldberg hated him.
I find that hard to believe because as small as that dude was and as jacked as Goldberg is, if he really wanted to hurt him, I don't see there's any way.
Oh, he claims he has concussion syndrome and from that one spear he took where the helmet popped off his head, and that it's till this day he's still not the same. And Conan has been on record, not on there but in another podcast, and said that Goldberg looked at him before. He says, "I'm gonna fuck him up." So, because Goldberg did not like him. So, apparently Goldberg intentionally Bret Harted him. But, I mean, if you watch some of the video footage, it does show him do that same kick that he done to Bret on multiple other people. So, how they didn't wind up momming up, I don't know. Maybe the kick ain't really what done it. You know, that's been subject to, was it the head on the rail where he done the figure four deal and various other things, but it's what it is. I mean, between when Vince Russo says bro and Bret Hart says idiot, you doing a drinking game to those two things, you're going to be feeling pretty tipsy by the end of it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's been kind of a slow week. Not a whole lot of Geek Week wise. Fell asleep during Raw last night. This White Six stuff, I don't know how I really feel about it.
I could care less. It's made me not even want to watch Monday Night Raw just because. And I actually was enjoying Raw, but I just do not care about them and how they murder everybody, yet everybody's fine next week. I mean,
man,
I don't know how zombie Chad Gable is going to make it up the ladder without his limb falling off, but
it's kind of weird. Like they keep doing this video, like they attack something at the beginning of the show. They deliver this VHS to Michael Cole. He has someone who has a VHS player in the back and via VCR, and they play this video, and it's a Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy talking to one another thing, and they're talking in riddles, but they're talking about Chad Gable to manipulated his family to and treated his family terrible to prosper and whatnot, and that's why they're after him. And he says a few things. I mean, I guess they're meant to get Bo Dallas over as not just ripping his brother off, but it is what it is, and it's already coming off very Kmart-ish. I can tell you this. I mean, the second weekend or third weekend, I went from being kind of hyped to like, this is. If they don't show up and just start really doing something, I'm not going to be invested in this. I'm not going to care. I've done seen all the vintages I want to see. I don't want to see any more. They're just.
Yeah.
I will say Bronson Steiner looked amazing last night as he fucked up Sami Zayn. That was cool. If he don't win the Intercontinental title Saturday, I'm going to be very disheartened. I think they're going to be really shitting the bed on that one if they don't do that.
Dude, so I'm going to take a quick aside because I have not watched the whole show, but I have seen the footage so far of Jacob Fatu being in the new Bloodline, and which I know is a SmackDown thing, but if you wanted an enforcer for the Bloodline, he was the right one. That dude is rabid looking when he's out there. He looks wild and crazy.
Did you guys not just feel terrible for poor Paul Heyman? When they picked this poor bastard up to do the Shield powerbomb through the table, and his whole head is like just getting bigger. As they hold him, it's like, my God, this is a 58-year-old man.
He does so well with coming in there looking like he's just beat down and disheveled, like he's grown his beard out, hadn't shaved in 3 days. His hair is different colors.
They said he didn't sleep for several days. Like literally, he did not. He kept himself from sleeping so that he would look, because like his eyes look god awful. I thought he rubbed them with fucking lemons or something. But he looked terrible. But that was actually a great segment. They done. And you know what? I popped myself when he said, "I don't acknowledge you as my tribal chief." I was like, man, I'm telling you right now, we all knew when Roman returned, he was coming back a face. I mean, it's just, going to happen. But can you imagine that pop and that promo the night he does return? One, he's gonna get a hell of a pop. He's gonna get a Road Warrior pop. And two, he's gonna sit there and just start lashing into him like, you do my wise man like this 3 days after my father passes. Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Well,
it's gonna be bad. Oh man.
The question is, who will be the fourth member? Because I assumed that it was going to be, one of the Usos, and then Jacob probably was going to be with Roman because they brought in Tama Tonga to be the enforcer for Solo, and I was like, so Jacob will end up on the other side. Now he ends up with them. So like, who do you bring in along with Roman, the two Usos, and now who's
Isn't
the
there
other
another
person?
one they've signed that they just hadn't debuted yet? Because
I
they
think
held off
so.
on Fatu for a little while, but there's one more.
I think so. It's going to be interesting to see how they break that down, though.
Honestly, I don't feel like an unknown is gonna, because they would just need to be with that 2.0. Really, I want to see them bring Sami Zayn back with them. The actual bloodline with Sami Zayn as faces, you print money.
Possibly, but I am not a fan of anybody on Solo side except for Jacob Fatu. I'm like, I like him. The two Thomas have not impressed me a single bit.
The first one that shows up, he's actually really good in the ring. I like him character wise. He's a little scrawny for me to believe him as his super badass, whether he's Haku's stepson or not. The one I'm let down with the most is Haku's son. He was Comanche or whatever the hell they called him years ago when he was with Hectico or whatever the guy's name was. And they let him go, and they went to New Japan together, and he come back, but he just always just lost there. Like he's just like, what'd I do? Like every time you see him, he's like he don't know where he's coming or going.
Tried too.
Huh?
He's botched every move he's supposed to have done too.
The best thing he's done is take that frog splash from Kevin Owens Friday night. That's the best thing he's done. Because other than that, he just looks out of place. He looks lost, like he just don't know whether he needs to shit or wind his watch, and it's bad. But aside from that, I mean, that's pretty much my Geek Week. I did get the email today from Hasbro about my Dragonfly being pushed out to December. The sons of bitches.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I saw your email this morning. I got the same one because I ordered one too, and I was like, at first I was like, well, why is Hasbro complaining about that? Because you were the one who said you didn't like the way it looked when they showed it out of the box not too long ago. So if they're going back to do something better on the production, why be upset? You're going to get a better product.
If that's what they're really doing, great. Because I mean, let's be honest, the Glenda figure looks like shit. I think she had two left thighs instead of a left and a right in the picture I seen. And copter itself looked very Dollar Generous, like them old copters you used to see in there when you were a kid. It just looked bad. So I mean, if they're doing all that, so forth and so be it. It's one of those things where like they charge you a year prior for a pre-order, and then you're gonna be a year and a half in for you. Which you know what? Hey, I'm no stranger to that. I was 2 years in on Thunder Tank.
I don't mind it if they're going back and trying to redo things, or if they've I've already paid for it, so it's not like I'm missing the money or trying to budget it. Now I got to move it out 6 months on my budget and stuff. When I have to do that, I get more frustrated than the fact that
kind of a Target deal.
It's already done. I don't pre-order anything for Target anymore. They'll charge you every week.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Well, see, the thing is, I'll be honest, I didn't really read all the email. I just seen the part where it says pushed out in December. That was all I cared about.
And it says in there for quality issues, and they're trying to fix some of that before they release it. Okay. I'll find it real quick while we're talking, but I remember reading it this morning. I
had actually seen it on Facebook when I was in the doctor's office this morning. I was scrolling, and somebody had already posted their email, and they were fussing. One of them was very careless. They got called out and blasted pretty good in the G.I. Joe classified community. They told him he was a fucking Karen and to shut the fuck up, basically. I enjoyed that pretty well. But I was like, when I seen it, I was like, hell no. I just see my emails. I was like, yeah, here we go. And I just scanned at the bottom and seen late December or whatever.
Yeah, and it says in here that it's that they are moving it out to, as they said, to ensure you're getting the best product possible. Which sounds to me like they're going back in to retool something, most likely, or something was wrong with it. Which I'm fine with that, right? I mean, if you're going to give me something better, then I'm not going to complain. However, if I hadn't paid for it, I might be a little more apt to complain because then I'm like, damn, I got to change my budget all around.
Yeah, if I hadn't
move
paid
stuff.
for it a little over a year ago, I would probably be like, you know what? Let's just cancel this. I'd probably regret it very much like I did the Hiss when I canceled my Hiss. But
my problem is when I look at those, and the Joes have been so great, and I think these are a great segue because we're going to talk patriotic here, in pop culture in just a minute. But what I don't like about all the stuff that they're doing, and I would love to have like the bridge layer and stuff that Ace is doing, but I have no room for the vehicles. I really just want the figures at this point because I looked at it, I was like, I may just take the figures, and I want figures in the box, and I want them open, and I may just sell the copter and then turn around and use that money to buy the figures and still close in the case so I can open one. So I'm like, I don't have anywhere to put it. Like I bought I've got still sitting at the house, still in the box. What was it? The Jeep that they just did. I can't think of the name of it right now. Saved my life.
Dude, I kind of regret not getting that because I see so many Gridiron Studios accessories you can get to go on that. It just makes it look amazing. Is this a Vamp or is that the Cobra?
No, it's the Vamp. But yeah, there's nowhere to put it. And then I've got like the Ram Cycle and both the Tiger Force and the regular. And I'm like, I have nowhere to even put those.
I have the Ram Cycle open. I have a shelf that's got my Tiger Force on there with the cycle in the middle. And for whatever reason, I don't know why I put Marauder Barbecue down there with him. I just did. He was out of place elsewhere, and I already had a barbecue on my Joe shelf. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. But I'm in the same boat you are. I literally sitting right here. I have the Batmobile with the Burton Batmobile.
Yeah.
That I got off Amazon 6-7 months ago, I guess. And I've been sitting there just like, I want to open it, but it's like, where am I going to put it? And my wife is about to kill me about this sort of stuff because she's about ready for me to start making some room. And I'm almost at a point where I can't, not justify what she's saying.
Same thing here. Like I want the 4-wheeler that Joe's are doing with the wreckage figure. That's a Tiger Force figure. I'm like, I want the figure a lot because I remember that one. I don't need the 4-wheeler. I don't want anything to do with the 4-wheeler. You got him. How'd you end up getting that?
Target.
I checked Target regularly. I still haven't seen him available for purchasing. Yeah.
Well, literally the day it dropped, I've seen it on there. And but you know what? It was like it was there and it was not there real quick.
Yeah, because I looked that same day and I could not find them on Target. I found them on Hasbro and they had already sold out. So that's one I'm having to search, but that's the only one I've had to have that problem. Like, because even when we went in and got the Marauders and Star, I was like, those are going to sell quick. So I picked it up for all 3 of us at one time. The fuckers are still available. I'm like, how is this exclusive still available, but everything else that pops up is not?
You watch that son of a bitch being Ollie's.
I ain't even going to go there.
Well, I mean, initially, when Slaughter came out, wasn't he Hasbro only?
No, he was all as they call it, Famazon or fan channels. He was Amazon fan channels, so Big Bad.
I just know what I got in mind.
He was not in retail,
but he come in the actual Hasbro sealed box.
It's kind of like that Blackheart set. They've taken some and said, okay, we're just going to put it at just where we think people will buy it at fan channel. But I think they've still overstocked that. Like that whole Blackheart wave is not going to sell in a retail store. So they didn't even go to Target and stuff with it. It's just Amazon and just Hasbro and then like Big Bad Toy Store stuff. So you can get, people who want it can get it. And I'm like, okay, but you would think they would make less and it would sell out fairly quickly. No.
I will say on that wave there, while it is probably the better deal to buy them from Amazon, I was less confident that you would get all of the wave through them versus Big Bad Toy Store. Like Big Bad Toy Store has them listed all together. You got to search for them, on there. You might get 1 or 2 pop up in the if you buy this, buy this. But I was like, but with Amazon, I feel like you would maybe get 4 of the 5, and then be like, we thought we'd have them, but we don't.
I mean, you can always go on Entertainment Earth and buy them as a set, and right now they have their sale on, so their 4th of July sale. So if you buy like $100, you get $10 off stuff, even stuff that hasn't come out yet. So that's not bad.
The one thing I was surprised with that set. Like usually you could buy Marvel Legends as a set, and usually like 1 figure discount was kind of how it was. I didn't see even on Big Bad Toy Store where you could do that this time. And I hadn't bought a set in years, so I really couldn't tell you. I think the last set I actually bought was the Was it the Onslaught set? No. The Colossus, Age of Apocalypse, that ended up all at Ollie's. I bought that whole set at retail years ago.
But since we've been on Geek Week for a while, since we're running tighter on time, let's go straight into our focus topic. I mean, it was a good conversation, but some of that was a good segue for us, and we still continued on a little further. So let's just jump straight into it. So Hassel, you brought this topic to the table and wanted to talk, patriotic characters. It's 4th of July, so it's Independence Day here in the States. Not everywhere, but at least here in the United States. So you wanted to talk patriotic characters and stuff and pop culture. So I'm going to let you take the floor and start us off, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Well, I mean, as this is dropping on, 4th of July weekend, you guys are probably watching this, the anniversary of us teabagging them old Brits, literally. But hey, throughout comics, throughout wrestling, throughout, pop culture, patriotism, it rears its head from time to time, no matter what side of the political, lines you draw, whatever. There's always something that makes you kind of feel that old red, white, and blue feeling, well, and like in wrestling with Lex Luger showing up on the USS Intrepid, to slam that dirty Yokozuna, when nobody else had been able to do anything, or there's things that succeed and there's things that fail. So, okay, to me, what would you say is something that kind of fails as a supposed to be a pro in the pop culture, but it just like come over like piss on a plate?
I guess that depends on in what realm are you talking? Because that's
it can be any whether it be comics, just movies, any of that.
I mean, if we're sticking with our theme here of patriotic, I mean, I don't think it falls flat in other areas, but if you're looking at some of the stuff, you got to go with the live action G.I. Joe movies.
Oof. Those are tough to swallow right there.
I can actually sit there and watch the first one and get slightly entertainment. Same with the second one. This Origin Snake Eyes was nothing G.I. Joe, honestly, but other than the name in it. But they weren't great by any means. I can enjoy just sitting there watching them to kill time. That's, as someone else once said, that's the stuff you turn on in the background so you can go vacuum the house.
Yeah, it was harder to swallow than Donald Trump with Stormy Daniels, but yeah, it was that's a tough one. For me in comics, like Uncle Sam. Years ago, that was a great character. They kind of done some things with him, but because I guess they maybe initialized him in the 40s, something like that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Uncle Sam was National Comics in 1940 by Will Eisner.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. And during that time, that was everything was propaganda and patriotism. In today's society, he's a little harder to come across as a comic character, and with the new wave of youth, so to speak. I mean, that you got to be honest. I mean, does our current youth really have the patriotism that a lot of? And I know can kind of get a little jaded or gray, but I'm just saying, I don't feel like maybe they appreciate a character that way.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of that just goes back to it's a much more worldly culture at this point, right?
Yeah.
You're open up to a lot more at that time, unless you were a traveler or you went overseas and other stuff. You really didn't go out of the country. You were focused on just building up the country. Now it's much more with the internet and things like that. It's like you can see what's happening right now and see old South Korea if you want to.
Yeah.
I will say, if you're looking at comics, though, I think, and this is a question I was going to bring up, but who do you think does, and it doesn't have to be United States only, but who do you think does patriotic characters or gives them more reverence and more I guess just more reverence and more likability than any of the others?
Marvel by far.
Yeah. I was going to say the same, because you think about it,
you give a shit about Captain America, like legitimately, and whether it's Sam Wilson, Captain America, Bucky, Steve, you care about Captain Britain. You care about, I mean, even like their Russian team of characters and Japanese team of characters, you can tell these guys are true to their nations.
You got the Winter Guard with Red Guardian, Black Panther. Just think about him. He is his nation's symbol. Whether you think about him as a patriotic character or not, he is, because that's.
He's going to put Wakanda first no matter what, and then the rest of you people can fall in line.
Look at Alpha Flight. Went on for years, and 2 or 3 of their characters are garbed in outfits that look just like their flag. Yeah, I mean.
They do a far superior job with it than DC or anyone else. I don't even know. Does Image even have any patriotic characters?
Well, go ahead, Big Ralph.
Super Patriot.
Man, this is why he's the third Freebird, people.
Well, you think
this episode a little bit for once instead of just flying by the seat of my pants.
Well, and I don't know if it was Image or if it was something somewhere else where Rob Liefeld was later when he made his character Agent America, who was just a straight Captain America ripoff.
Yeah, I'd almost forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Just the Captain America.
Homage.
Yeah,
that's a good way to. Next time I go to blatantly rip somebody off, this is a homage.
But back it up a second, even outside of just those superhero characters. Yes, you had like Sergeant Rock. Nobody really cared much about Sergeant Rock. Nick Fury, nobody really cared much about. But then Marvel sold G.I. Joe comics, and there was a time where G.I. Joe outsold all of their superhero comics. When it first kicked off, for the first year, it was outselling every one of the superhero comics they had. And that same series is ongoing today, because every time it goes to a new studio, Larry Hama just goes and keeps writing the same series, and they keep
So would you think it's because the initial the cartoon craze and toy line craze of what we had as young children in our generation grew up in the comics and progressed even as adult and continued, or do you think it's just Hama's writing as that superior?
I think it was the time and energy he was putting into it, and I think it was for how that book was, because think about how that book sold for Marvel. While it was outselling, it was also outselling in Britain, where it was completely rewritten a lot of times. Every issue that came out within the same month, they had to rewrite it to release it as Action Force, because it didn't have the same themes. It would be the same artwork, but they would have to tell the story differently and say that, Cobra's not just attacking the U.S. and there's a down U.S. flag. It's the United Nations, or they're attacking Britain at some point, because Action Force had to be a worldwide. So like different characters were from different countries in Action Force. So they had to rewrite the book almost every month. Like 70% of the book had to be rewritten every month.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah. That's a fun fact that I learned not too long ago. I didn't know that until a couple of years ago, and I was reading 10 facts you don't know about this. And I was like, that's one that I actually don't know. It is
crazy to me that they're still selling those old omnibus, and they're selling well. Like Skybound just, I guess they're able to sell the Marvel omnibus, which is like how,
yeah.
But they had just done it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they're selling well.
Did you see that stretch goal is now at like 3 million?
Wow.
3 million mark on a stretch goal, and they're having different artists come in from different companies drawing different stuff and signing it for, like Mark Silvestri's doing the cover, or Jim Lee, they're trying to get to do one if it reaches a certain sales point.
Oh my.
Yeah, like it's a big deal.
Wow.
Very good.
I kind of get the DC kind of rested on their laurels, though, and said, okay, well, Superman's an American hero. He's really not. He's worldwide. He might wear American colors, and you guard Wonder Woman in the American flag, but at the same time, she's not an American hero.
She cares more about Amazon than anywhere, and that's rightfully so. Superman, he is worldwide. He might be a farm boy from Kansas, but he is, and they went out of their way to make sure to pull him from just being American to worldwide. What, about 5 years ago? That was a whole big focus, was he was worldly versus U.S. I think they're trying to get a little more back to U.S. now, but you've done it. Once you've done it, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, people. So to speak.
And a lot of their patriotic characters have been almost comedic, like General Glory, when he was on the Justice League International, and he'd say his little chant, go from a frail man, because he had the super soldier serum, that he would be this giant buffed up guy, but he was like goofy and didn't understand a lot of stuff because he had almost in his regular human form, he was from the World War II era, but he was experiencing Alzheimer's too. So he would just like have almost a childlike mind at times, or be naive when they would do stuff. And it's like, okay, you're using it for comedic effect.
I would say one of the ones DC got right, and I read some stories with Uncle Sam that from the Justice Society that are actually really good. But I will say one of the ones that I like was is it Captain Steel? The one that's got the armor suit that's kind of like but it's bonded to his skin, and it's
there's three. He's a legacy character.
Yeah, it was like his granddaddy and his daddy both were the same character.
Steel, Commander Steel.
Like the line they done with him when Jeff Johns was doing JSA, I really liked that. That was one of the times they got it right. So I was kind of a fan of that there. But it does transpire out. I mean, what was your favorite? What would you say is your all-time favorite, like patriotic, whether it be like an episode of something or an issue or a movie or whatever, where it was like it transcended over into entertainment?
I'll let Big Rob go first. I got to think about that.
I mean, I know I'm, at the risk of sounding like everybody, the same answer. I mean, I'm a huge Captain America fan, whether it be Steve or Bucky or Falcon or anybody. I'm a big time Red Dawn fan too. The original and the remakes. Those are great.
That remake is very good.
Yeah.
You know what? Don't get enough respect and love on patriotism. Hot Tub Time Machine. Just saying. Chip and his boys, they were ready.
Oh, that's terrible.
But Chernobyl.
There you go, baby.
Oh man. I'm gonna go with the original comic book character who was garbed in the flag and stuff, and say I actually, as much as I like Captain America, some of the others, the original comic book character donned in the American flag, and I liked some of the later stuff with the Shield.
Ooh. There you go.
Yeah.
Respect.
I like the Impact Comics version of the Shield, which I liked all of that line of books when they did that little imprint of Impact Comics. But those were all the MLW or MLJ, whatever they were called, and they were later Archie Comics. But the Shield actually beat Cap out by like 11 months on the premiere, so which I didn't realize for a long time. And then I was like, okay, he's not a knockoff. I liked the way he was done when they did the Impact Comics, and I enjoyed those books. I actually tried to put together a whole run of them. I'm missing like 1 or 2 issues just because they've been, not that they're hard to find, it's just I haven't run across them yet, and I'm not willing to pay more than a couple bucks for them because it's not like it's a high selling book. But
fair enough.
I go back to that, and I enjoy it. I enjoyed that run of books.
So I'm going to have to say it was when the Alliance needed a 4th member, and the Undertaker comes out to the ring and does his coat open, and he has the old colonial flag there. So they can go against some nasty foreign fanatics.
And have you seen his comments on? Yeah,
but come on, you can't say you didn't kind of like yes, USA at that point.
It was one of those that I could have skipped over and not even remember.
Honestly, comic story wise, one of the best ones I remember reading, and I really enjoyed was where the Red Skull. It was an Avengers story, and I forget the actual story itself. But Red Skull had actually got by the whole Avengers, had been posing as a damn senator this whole time.
He was Dale Rusk.
There you go. That was a great
Red
story,
Skull.
And that was like I got you like feeling because I was one of the issues in there. I remember like Cap had this like just amazing speech, and it was just like wow. It was one of them that kind of like boost you up a little bit. Like you don't want to sign up for the military. You're pumped.
I like the Heroes Return. So when they come back from the Heroes Reborn universe, And Captain America is seen worldwide as a symbol, not just of America's culture, but just like of what a hero is supposed to be. And it's like everybody, even the foreign countries who sometimes we don't have the best relations with, they still like, no, he's heroic, and we follow his teachings. So like for him to go around the world and see that was kind of interesting to see how he reacted, because he was like, I don't understand this. Nobody should be worshiping me like this. But he never thought about it as, okay, I'm doing this. He thought that he's doing right for everybody, but he also didn't ever think that he was like should be hero worshipped either. So it was a very interesting story. That's
how daunting does that probably have to be for a patriot? I mean, that's got to be kind of like just weird.
I would think so, yeah. So to pose it differently from your question, where's some of your favorite? What's some of your least favorite looks on some of that stuff? Same concept, but at least something that turns you off to your least favorite. And I'll go first and say that there's a character from Superman books who wanted to be a hero but was against aliens and was like xenophobic and stuff. And it was later on they changed him after he saw Superman sacrifice himself to Doomsday, and he actually starts modeling himself after Superman. But Agent Liberty. When he first shows up in Superman comics and has that all black outfit, the jetpack and stuff, and he looked cool, but it was one of those things where he was like, he's not really a good guy, but he wants to be a good guy, but he feels like the aliens are taking humans' place, or almost the same kind of concept you get into with illegal immigrants or immigration and all that stuff. So it was like very much in that vein of story, but then he realizes where he's wrong and tries to change. I enjoyed it after the fact, but when he first came in, I was like, you wasted a cool concept, a good looking suit on somebody, and this is a terrible.
What you got, Big Rob?
I can't really think of anything right off the top of my head. I don't, other than, and don't get me wrong, I've not watched the show, I've not read the books. But from what I'm understanding, the Homelander character on The Boys is, he's garbed. He looks like Cody Rhodes. But he's complete asshole murdering people. That's kind of, to me, that's kind of a big time turnoff. And I understand that's the point. But for me, I don't dig that, which is one of the reasons I don't read the books and I don't watch the show.
Okay. But that was different in the books though, because it was never Homelander who was actually
it was
crazy. It was his clone who was Black Noir, which was not in the show. They're two different characters.
That was a huge major twist they did right there. But that's actually a good one right here. I'm a fan of I haven't really read the books. I am a fan of The Boys. Like we discussed in the last episode, I do feel like they're just pushing the boundaries just to push the boundaries at this point on the show, and it's getting a little much. But
I haven't even watched the latest season.
Seeing Dean as a patriotic soldier boy or whatever, that was pretty cool on there. But for me, I would have to say, if I wasn't to go with Jack Swagger's "We the People," it just makes me want to vomit every time him and Zeb Coulter come out to the ring. That was just terrible. Comic wise, I don't know. What was Peacemaker maybe? I'm not a big fan of or him or Nuke, one of the two.
I agree. I'm not a Peacemaker fan either.
The show wasn't too bad. Him in the movie, I did not care for at all.
John Cena's portrayal is funny, but it's not what that character was originally designed for.
When he's trying to be funny, it's entertaining because he is an entertaining guy. He sucks on Mortal Kombat 1. It is fucking awful. And I didn't really care for him. I didn't care for the end, how they portrayed him at the end of Suicide Squad. And comic-wise, I just don't care for him at all.
Old school Carlton comics, I think he was actually a good character because he's trying to be, as he calls himself, Peacemaker. He's like trying to use nonviolence as much as possible to fight crime and stuff, and to the extent where you can. But if he did have to fight, then he would use things like police baton and stuff. He was never this gun-toting, let's just shoot everybody. Like the way they portray him in the comics now is the exact way they portrayed him in Suicide Squad and on the TV show. And I'm like, you changed that just because the character got over so well with the audience on that show, and I'm not a fan of doing that.
Well, the fucking eagle is carrying out his orders, and
yes, and now you have a female version of him in the comics too with I can't remember her name. I'd have to look it up. I cannot remember her name now, but there's Peacemaker, and then there's a female one that worked for Amanda Waller, and I'm like, it's just not a.
So where do you guys stand on Nuke when he's just basically taking steroids and popping his pills and to be super powered?
Got a great
American flag on his face.
I think that was a interesting take because it's a way to say, hey, here's a commentary on society of taking these drugs and stuff and what it can do to you. And we're gonna make a super soldier, but he has to take these, and then it drives him to this point. So I think it was a good commentary to use in something like a Daredevil. The occasional show up in Captain America, but if he shows up in other stuff like in Avengers or even an X-Men book or something, I am not a fan of that.
We're having technical difficulties, people.
Yeah, I'm not sure I call it difficulty. It just got to where, there was an ugly mug that disappeared.
Yeah.
Ow. It's back. Damn it. It was peaceful for a moment.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I don't know what you just did. But while you're trying to fix that, Big Rob, how about you throw a topic out there? Because you said you did a little bit of research this time.
No, I was just looking up and familiarizing myself with different patriotic heroes and stuff like that. Just I'm one of those, and I guess this kind of comes off of what you were just talking about how they changed Peacemaker. I am really, really, really old school when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I like Cap hasn't really. Hey, there he's back. Cap hasn't really changed a lot. He's always been an humble dude that just wants to do the right thing. But like you said, you got a lot of these other characters that they're changing up. Even Superman, like you said, when he debuted, yes, he's from Krypton, but he was raised, crash landed and raised in Kansas. He stood for truth, justice, and the American way. I love that kind of thing. I love the old school, not necessarily piss on the rest of the world, but if you're going to be a patriot and do good. Don't wrap yourself in the American flag and then go murdering people like the new Peacemaker does. I don't know. I guess it's like you said, it's a commentary on maybe today's mental, what people think about stuff. I guess I'm stuck in the past on that. I like my good guys. I like my say your prayers and take your vitamins, Hulk Hogan. I like my good guy Sarge. I didn't like my Iraqi sympathizer Sergeant Slaughter. I like
maggot.
Right. I like my patriots to be good guys. Whether that's Captain America in the USA or Black Panther in Wakanda or Red Guardian in Russia, even though I'm not a Russian patriot, I think Red Guardian should be a good.
Come on, comrade.
A good guy for his country,
Yeah, and I can see, to your point, Big Rob, I can see when they disagree with, okay, this country is at odds with this country, where, okay, if these two characters, even though they're supposed to be heroes, if they end up fighting, I get that point because you have to believe in your country. But for the grand scale, say Thanos is coming to invade, it's not like, well, I'm not going to help you because I'm not American. Red Guardian would be right there along with Cap and Captain Britain and Guardian from Alpha Flight and Black Panther. But if they're ever at odds with each other, okay, they're at odds because that does happen. We don't all agree.
I guess maybe it's something to do with patriotism and honor. Be honorable in your dealings.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
So you don't want to back Iron Patriot.
I like his costume. I love his costume, but
America.
you know, not so much.
Well, that's a fair way to look at it. And so, team, I'm going to ask a question because we have been going a little bit. Are we more on the topic we want to discuss? Or are we ready to move into nerd out?
And I am ready for nerd out.
All right. Well, let's move straight into nerd out then, because this is the part of the show we ask random questions about the topics of the day. We all have to respond with little to no prep time. We'd love to hear your answers in the comments below. We'd like to hear what you think about the questions or your answers to it. Or if you want to expand upon ours, please feel free to do that also, because we'd like to hear that as well. With that, who wants to go first today? I mean, usually we offer Big Rob to go first because he's the guest, and most of the time he's like, dang it, I wasn't ready. Don't make me go first. So
He does homework this time, Monster.
Who wants to go first today?
I'll do one though, if you guys, because I've kind of got the start of a question. I don't really have an answer for it yet, but I do have the start of a question.
Well, that's fine. If you ask, whoever asks the question has the answer at last anyway, so you got time to prepare your answer after us.
So keeping in line with our Patriot heroes, one that we didn't really talk about, because we didn't get a chance, is in the Elseworlds, we had Red Sun Superman. Instead of being dropped in Kansas, he was dropped in USSR.
Russia.
A big time patriot hero for Stalin and communism, and So my question is this, or my thought process is: take a superhero, or wrestler, TV character, I don't care, somebody, your choice. Pick somebody that's a patriot, and give me a different origin story. Turn them on its head. Give me a different origin.
That's a good one. I don't know, because I think most of them that you go with end up being very similar origin. It's just, okay, how do they carry themselves out? Because even with Superman, the origin was the same, other than he was raised this way, so this is the way he carried out utilizing his powers. I mean, if you're talking origin-wise, I don't know what that changes, but I tell you one, and I don't know how to play it out, but it would be interesting to see how it went. Instead of having that TV show, The Greatest American Hero, The Greatest Russian Hero. What's the difference there?
Oh, man.
A much darker show.
Come along, comrade, this time today.
I think, though, that one thing that would, and I'm joking about that, but I think what would be interesting would be to see, Captain America is obviously Captain America is American, but think back to the 80s when they replaced him, 80s, early 90s when they replaced him with John Walker, who became U.S. agent. Would that have been a better fit to say he sticks as Russia's Captain America or Red Guardian versus Steve Rogers, who, even if he had grown up there, would because it was a slightly, at least the way it's always been depicted to us, as a slightly harsher environment, would John Walker have been a better fit as the character for Red Guardian than Steve Rogers would?
Fit in well in the motherland.
I mean, I think that would be an interesting look to see. Hey,
that's a look you could do today, though. I mean, I can see him being a Putin sympathizer because Putin's getting it right in his view, with the way he has a steel fist upon his nation. And I could see, I could probably write about a good 4 issues of that right there and make it make sense.
Yeah, I think that would be probably the closest good answer I could give you, Big Rob, is I think seeing how that played out, if they were Russian superheroes and John Walker was taking Steve Rogers' place, would Steve Rogers have ever been reappointed, or would John Walker have just continued on?
Interesting.
All right.
So now Hassel has the answer.
Issues for us, though.
I don't know how I can top that right there. I'm gonna be honest with you, Monster. You kind of put the good nail on the head there with that. So What if good old hacksaw Jim Duggan had been a communist sympathizer? Instead of chanting USA, he's Russia all the way. You got the hammer and sickle flag, good red tights. Man.
Before Sergeant Slaughter was your G.I. Joe lead in and stuff, that probably would have been the better choice for the Iraqi sympathizer, but Slaughter became so popular, like with mainstream outside of wrestling.
Oh, dude, when he was getting death threats, I mean, that transcended right there. That in itself was like, you know, you have done something. When you start getting death threats in professional wrestling, you have really struck a nerve with some people. I mean, so yeah, that's I don't really have a good answer other than that.
How about you, Big Rob, who has turned a different direction now?
Yeah, I don't know what just happened.
I don't know, but my neck just popped pretty good, so thanks for that.
I'm fucking with my holes.
I have no idea what happened. I apologize. I'm not touching my phone. I don't know what happened or why I'm
sideways. We control the vertical and the horizontal, as evidenced by Big Rob.
Yeah, sorry guys. I don't know what's happening.
That's all good. It's funny, if nothing else. It adds some entertainment value.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway,
Big Rob controls the vertical.
Hey.
I look a little slimmer this way, so you know it's not necessarily a bad thing, I guess. Oh, jeez. So you know, something will be interesting to me, and I kind of just come off of this because we was talking about the wrestling and stuff. Is what if Kurt Angle was to come back, or even if Kurt Angle was a little bit closer in time and join up with Gunther and Imperium?
Ooh,
wow,
that would get some heat right here.
I mean,
if he just renounced his American citizenship.
I mean,
he said, these people are what pro wrestling should be. You fucking Americans are just lazy slobs. Ooh, that could get some heat right there.
Kurt got some heat anyway, but could you imagine that if your Olympic heroes turned against you? That's crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Melt down his gold medals and make some side plates for the world title that Gunther wins.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
I hope nobody watches this, because if that happens, I'm going to cry.
No more milk for him.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle returns.
Oh, man. That's just wrong. Hassel, your turn.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to stray away from the patriotic side of things. It is July, and this is the month that Deadpool Wolverine comes out. What is the one cameo that has been unconfirmed that you're wanting to see in this movie? Because it's going to delve with the multiverse and so forth and so on. So what is the one cameo you're wanting to see in this movie?
Alf.
Wow. That's out of left field.
I just picked something just to be funny. That's a good question. Big Rob, I'll let you answer first.
Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider.
Oh, yes.
And I only say that because Blade is Wesley Snipes has halfway been confirmed, or at least heavily rumored. He would be my other one.
Monster.
You know what would actually stand out to me is if they did something like what's his name? Is it John Shea, who was in Mutant X? Just to grab somebody from that TV show, just because it's like completely forgotten in the annals of Marvel TV shows and movies.
That would be wild.
I've got you beat. David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
Yes.
And I want to hear Wade Wilson go, aren't you supposed to be a black guy? That
would be a funny one.
Unless they got the Roger Corman Fantastic Four involved, you couldn't get much better than that. Both of those would just be gold.
So mine is back to our focus topic here, but what character that hasn't had, or even group of characters that haven't had something that's in recent years or recent months would you like to see brought back that are patriotic characters? What would you like to see brought back as a new book, a TV show, something, and hey, Big Rob's back to normal. But what's one that you would like to see brought back in some format?
I would like to see a good Alpha Flight, honestly.
That's a good one.
Like, I would really like to see a good, serious take on Alpha Flight, then give them some time to tell a story, not just like 6 issues and be done. Give them 12 to 18 issues and let's see where it can go. Like, a steady creative team with some good art and go with it.
That's a good one. What about you, Big Rob?
I would like to see a reboot, a more serious but not dark reboot of Greatest American Hero with updated graphics. Like don't make him killing people and murdering. Like keep the tone, keep him a good guy, but a little more, like almost, I'm trying to think. So, okay, remember how Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the TV, and then when we got the movie, it was just a little bit more serious, but not dark?
Yeah.
A little bit more grown up than that.
That's actually an interesting one. Like, why has that not been done something with?
Has the rights to that now? I don't know.
That's an interesting question. I have no idea who has the rights to it.
Maybe we should try and go in and buy those.
Hey, we got some money here, people.
For me, I'd like to see either a animated series, and it doesn't have to be, a very long one, or maybe even a mini series or a comic series where DC had a concept years ago called the Global Guardians, and it's supposed to be heroes from different countries who were together and they defended all of the world. But they had these lackluster characters who were not patriotic symbols. Like you had Fire, who was later on in Justice League. She's from Brazil, yes, but other than that, she's not a Brazilian hero. She's just from a hero who happens to live there and be from there, right? So yes, her ethnicity is that, but she wasn't a symbol of the country. I want one where you got like, a symbol from the countries, and I'm using them from DC as an example. But say you did that in Marvel Comics, you could do that as a Captain Corps and have Captain America, Captain Britain.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm going to piggyback on you. What if you had one in Marvel called the United, and it had like Captain America, Captain Britain, Sunfire, just various ones, the Guardian.
Someone who is a nationalistic hero, right? And I'd like to see that. I'd like to see DC redo that with their Global Guardians, and even if they got to create national heroes, because that's something they lack. They really don't have that many that are. Okay, you're this. You're from this country.
For a company that wants to reboot their entire legacy on diversity every 6 fucking months, you would think they would have some, cultural heroes versus just let's make sure we get a transgender guy out here.
Well, look at Marvel. They even have an Irish one that's her name is Shamrock. I mean, they have something for countries, and they are a specific hero for the country. They're like nationally recognized by the country.
Well, I'd probably go with Banshee myself, but hey.
Well, I mean, but think about it. She shows up wearing a Shamrock outfit, and it's luck of the Irish, whatever. That's her powers, luck. So,
okay, I can get behind that.
I would like to see DC actually do some of that and actually create heroes for other countries. Like, because you don't really. I mean, the only one to me that's really that way right now is if you said Aquaman for Atlantis. But he's a little more outside the realm. He doesn't fit just that, right? So.
But you know what? That's a supreme ruler. That is a king. That doesn't. That's not the same thing. See, that's what makes like the Marvel ones so great. Because like even with Captain America, he's not a king or a ruler. He was one of the people. And most of the other ones are the same. I mean, with the exception of maybe Captain Britain.
Black Panther. Black Panther.
Well, yeah, I mean Black Panther, but I mean I wouldn't put Black Panther on the United.
But
I'd have some people of color there, but it wouldn't be Black Panther because he's too much of a I won't say a tyrant, but a ruler.
I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily dislike that for certain things. Like if it's a smaller nation, or if it's one like, where the symbol of that nation is that ruler, and he's wearing that outfit to be that, or if you have somebody like who's a Namor, he's the representative for all of Atlantis and stuff. Yeah, he may be the ruler, but he's also the only person you really know from there besides his cousin named Marita.
I'd probably have Namor be my villain. Namor and Doom.
I was never a fan of that. But I can see your point. But with that, we have gone through Nerd Out now, and it is about time for us to get out of here. But before we leave, Hassel, tell everybody where they can find us at.
Man, you can find us on Facebook via Hassel Hutchison. You can find us on Instagram, The Nerdy Manroom Show. You can find us on Twitter at the.nerdy.manroom show. You can find us on, most importantly, the YouTube channel, The Nerdy Manroom Show. We're on Spotlight Media via our sponsor, The Zone Collectibles, 305 Main Street, Tipton, Georgia. We're everywhere, people. And we got something big coming up pretty soon. We'll be in one more place.
Yeah, we'll save that for right now. But after you go check us out, don't forget to go check out Big Rob. Big Rob, tell them where they can find you at.
I'm on YouTube, Big Rob's House of Entertainment. No
Chinese food.
I'm on TikTok at Big Rob's House, and I'm on Twitter at Big Rob's House.
So after you check us out and you check Big Rob out, as Hassel mentioned, our sponsor, we want to give a big thank you to These Own Collectibles. You can go check them out on the internet at theseowncollectibles@gmail.com and on Facebook at These Own Collectibles, or in their store at 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia. Visit them for all your nerdy needs. Help them support the local artist community by supporting their cause of bringing unity through community. Fandoms unite. And
they got an app now.
Yeah, this is it's coming. I don't think it's fully active yet. They're working on it.
No, it's there. I downloaded it this weekend.
Yeah, I downloaded it.
They're behind, Monster.
Actually, no, because he said not to announce it yet because it wasn't ready for public consumption yet. That was sent to us early.
Oh.
So you don't read text.
Depends on where I'm at.
I was trying to save you, and you just kept going. But anyway, after when we find out it's active and you can go download it, you can do that. But right now, check out our end credits for some special shout out to some of our friends and extended Nerdy Manroom family members. You can see their details in the closing credits. And with that, we are ready to get out of here. But join us here next time. We're going to be talking about taking a look at the money in the bank, and then live nerdy and enjoy your Independence Day.